All right, it is that time. We shall get started. First of all, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rob Zdrojewski, and I am a middle school technology teacher in Buffalo, New York, Amherst Middle School. I've been teaching there for 14 years now, 7th and 8th graders. And topics I teach, as you probably guessed it, video production, mobile devices, a little bit of Lego robotics, green screen TV production, screencasting, all those kind of information communication related topics. I also now teach for the past 2 years as an adjunct professor at Canisius College in a teacher certification program in New York State where you can become certified as an ed tech specialist. And it's a fully online program, so as you can imagine, our students are doing a lot with Videolicious and screencasting a lot of the topics that I'm presenting on at ISTE. If you haven't arrived yet at my blog, it is robztraining.com. I do suggest that you subscribe by email up here because I'll be having a lot of follow-up after ISTE. As you know, I mentioned already, I'm recording this session using Camtasia, so I hope to post that up as a YouTube video that you can check out after the fact as well. So enough about me. I want to know a little bit about you. I would go around the room if I could, but in a room this size and a 1 hour time slot, we're going to do it the summary way. So by a show of hands, how many in the room are elementary school teachers? All right. How many are middle school teachers? How many high school teachers? How many administrators? How many tech coaches? How about library media specialists? All right, so we got a good variety of a lot of people. Any categories I left out? IT staff? Anything else? Very good. All right, so we got good representation all the way across the board. Now this app, how many people have ever used Videolicious before? Anybody out there? All right, I'd say about 10% there. How many have it installed on your device of choice? All right, good. Just about everybody does. So the theory is, by the end of this session today, we want to have you create a video called Why I Love ISTE, or What I Love About ISTE, or My Experience at ISTE. I've been taking random photos and videos the past couple of days that I've been here, including getting caught out in the rain. Did anybody get caught about an hour ago? It's like a torrential downpour out there, so I got good footage of that I can put into part of the experience. And this app allows you to take those photos and videos and tell a story. So it's basically a digital storytelling app. I'm a big user of iMovie on iOS. Anybody else use iMovie on iPads, iPods, iPod Touches, iPhones? Very good. So I like using both, but each one has its own place. If I'm in a rush and I want to still make something that looks professional, I would use Videolicious. I can assemble something very quickly, put in a narration track and a background music track, and it does all the editing for me. Makes it look very nice. But if I want to have more control over which scenes come up when and maybe put titles and graphics on, then I would spend more time and use iMovie. So for me, it comes down to how much time do I have on the project that I want to create. So if you're making video blog posts, student newscasts, anybody do student newscasts in their school, like live or pre-record? Okay, good. This is a good fit for that because whether you're doing those video blog posts or making content for your morning shows, Videolicious is a good app to do so. And I've been using it for probably 4 years or so, 3.5, 4 years in that time frame. All right, so we're going to look at the outline, which if you haven't gone to it yet, in this video, in this blog post, it's right here, view my presentation outline, and that will take you right here to our Google Doc. So I have given you guys the summary. We'll jump right into about the Videolicious app. Now it works across all devices running iOS 6 and higher, so that is going to exclude some of the older devices, namely iPod Touch devices. I believe 4th generation and up is the ones you have to have. So if you have any of those older ones, or including the original iPad 1, those kind of antiquated devices, I guess in the world of Apple, are not going to work with Videolicious. So the newer devices will work as long as there's a front-facing camera. And this is what the app looks like. You'll notice in the App Store it is free. They monetize by having a paid upgrades, and we're going to get to that today too. I have one of the paid upgrades. I have the $5 a month plan, which gives me the ability to do longer presentations, gives me more royalty-free music tracks to pick from, and a couple of other benefits too, which we will cover. As I mentioned, it uses your existing camera roll photos and videos, so hopefully at this point you have stuff on your camera rolls. If you don't, you can turn to the person next to you, take a picture, tell a story of what's going on in this room if you like. I've done that before. But as long as you have existing footage, if you have footage, Videolicious is your app to tell that story. So let's look at a sample video that I made. This is a video blog post that I made about how we use Edmodo. Has anybody in this room used Edmodo or uses Edmodo? All right, good. A lot of people have. And I also put the cards out that look like this on your table. If you've never heard of Edmodo or you want to learn more about them, this takes you to booth 800 is where they're located in the exhibit hall. I spent some time there yesterday talking to some other fellow Edmodo users, and as an Edmodo certified trainer, I get kind of to keep in touch with the engineers at Edmodo about the new things coming down the road. And I'm really excited about this snapshot feature they have and the quizzes and all the new features built into Edmodo. So one of the things I use very heavily is the progress bar feature, which is tied into the gradebook. Now, I'm in a classroom, as you'll see in this video, that has about 25 desktop computers. When the kids come in the room, they do go immediately right to those computers and log in. They pull up their Edmodo progress bars, which you can see on the screenshot here, and that gives them a visual indication of where they're at. Because I run a flipped mastery classroom, flipped because I don't stand and lecture. I don't do to my students what I'm doing to you guys right now, which is stand in front of the group and talk. I have everything pre-recorded in videos that I've made. Then it's a mastery classroom because everybody's working on different projects all at the same time. Someone here is doing the Word of the Week project, someone here is doing the screencasting project, someone else is doing the podcast project, all different things happening at the same time. And to lead them through it, they very closely look at those progress bars to see, all right, I got a grade on assignment 7, now I work on assignment 8. And it makes it very personalized that way. So the purpose of me showing you this video is I want to show you right off the bat a product that was made with this Videolicious app. What I first did is I went around the room and I thought, what pictures would really tell the story? So I took some snippets of 5 seconds of someone's hands on a computer, a couple pictures, and then I brought them into the app, which I will show next. So let's go right to that video. Hi, this is Rob Z of robztraining.com, and today I want to talk about the progress bars in Edmodo. In my classroom, I have a procedure. Beginning of class, kids come in and log right into Edmodo, and they pull up these progress bars, which are a visual indicator of where they're at in the course. Since I run a differentiated classroom, every student's working on a project, but not always the same project at the same time. So this way, it gives them kind of a refresher at the beginning of class to see what was turned in, what wasn't turned in, what feedback did the teacher give me, and so forth. So I really like this now because I feel like the students have ownership of their own progress, and they can keep track, keep themselves updated each day, and the parents too, because the parents have the ability to check their Edmodo accounts too. Before this existed, before Edmodo, I couldn't do this. I simply had a paper gradebook sitting on my desk. Kids would have to come up and say, what project am I on? What should I be working on next? Can I redo that? And now I feel like with Edmodo, this tool lets me manage things much, much more efficiently. And nobody gets any surprises at the end of the rotation. Everybody's always kept up to date on their progress. So I feel like this really empowers the students in more of a project-based learning classroom, I guess you could say, is what I'm running here, through the use of a tool like Edmodo. So that's my blog post for today. If you're interested in seeing more, my blog is robztraining.com, and you can check out other stuff that All right, so a little disclaimer there. One thing that I didn't do in Videolicious is put that lower third graphic in. That's done through iMovie. So when you make a project with Videolicious, it just dumps it onto your camera roll. Therefore, you can grab it from the camera roll and bring it into iMovie and do things like graphics and titles and other fancy things like that. So this was kind of a project that used both together. But I would say about 90% of the work was done with the Videolicious app. So to tell that story, I thought, as any good digital storyteller would, what should the people be seeing? Well, I'm talking about my story, which I scripted out. I kind of had an outline off to the side that I was looking at. I thought, what footage, what B-roll footage in the industry it's known as, should people be seeing? So I thought, well, let's get 2 kids talking on a computer. Let's get someone's hand holding an iPod Touch. Let's get someone pointing at a computer screen like they're having a conversation. So you start thinking about what shots would tell the story, and that is good critical thinking skills. I go as far as having my students script that out in a 2-column storyboard. On the left-hand side is what are we seeing, and on the right-hand side is what are we hearing. And that 2-column storyboard before they make a blog post like the one you just saw there. So that is my example. Let's jump back over. Oh, and another thing too is you did see me hold this microphone. This is known, let me get here, this is known as the iRig microphone. There's a lot of other ones out there now, but this was known as the first one, a condenser microphone built for iOS. It has a sensitivity switch on it for low, medium, and high, which is good being in a school environment. Sometimes you want it to be real sensitive if it's a quiet room, or not sensitive if there's a lot of noise going on. So you can just slide the switch there. There's no batteries, nothing like that to worry about, to have to change. And the other end has the typical microphone jack that you would have that you plug into where your headphones go. So a very simple mic. This is about $50, and again, it's called the iRig mic. And you can find it, I usually look on Amazon for the best price for that. So that comes into handy a lot, because if you are more than what I say arm's length away from your iOS device, you probably will not get very good audio unless you're in a really quiet room and there's not a lot of echo going on. So for me, I tell the kids arm's length is the maximum I want you to go. If you go beyond that, you got to take one of our iRig mics to record yourself. And that works on iPod Touch, iPhone, and iPad, on all the iOS devices, and iPad mini, of course. I-R-I-G. It's iRig, I-R-I-G. And I think do I have the link to it? No, I took the link out, but you'll be able to find it if you search Amazon for iRig. All right, back to our outline. We have the free versus paid options. I mentioned a little bit before about how it's a free app, but they monetize through a little bit of a pricing structure. So here's what we have. Starting at the far right, the free plan, you can have 10 supporting shots, which means 10 pieces of content, whether it's photos or videos or both. And you can go up to 1 minute long in length. Most notably, though, if you bump on over to the left a little bit, the plan I have for $5 a month gives me up to 100 supporting shots. And I don't think I've ever made a video with that many in there, but up to a 10-minute length. And that's a little bit more convenient for me because I tend to make videos that are 2, 3, 4 minutes in length. And to be able to go over a minute, you have to have one of the paid plans. They talk about video storage. This is not only a creation tool, but it's also an online platform to host your videos and to stream them from too. So the free plan lets you store 20 videos of storage and 100 videos if you go up to the plan that I'm on for $5 a month. And of course, you could go even higher to the $10 a month plan and get unlimited. Now they are experimenting a little bit with enterprise level pricing. As you can see on the far left side here on the black side, they have information for more business, commercial related things. A lot of real estate people use this. A lot of entrepreneurs will use it. But they are looking at a way to open it up for schools as well. That's why they want you to call for pricing. Depending on the size of your school building and how many students there are, if you have, like in my example, we have about 700 kids at Amherst Middle School, they would have a plan customized so that all of those 700 kids could have their own accounts and have access to unlimited length, unlimited footage, and a lot of royalty-free music clips to choose from. And then me as the teacher, I can go into a dashboard and see everybody that's uploaded stuff. And I can pick and choose and download videos and use them on the morning show if need be. So I experimented a little bit with that new platform this year, and I have to say it worked really well because students could use their school-owned devices or student-owned devices, either or. They just log in with their account, and then anytime they make something, there's no interaction that they have to do to put it anywhere. It just automatically goes up to the cloud, which then means I have access to pull down from the cloud all the videos that I want. So I kind of have a nice big library of student-produced media to pick from. And I would require the kids to tell me that they've made something. Maybe Saturday afternoon they just finished up a documentary they want me to put on Monday morning's show. They'll shoot me an email and say, hey, Mr. Z, check out my account. I just made Project XYZ. I'll go in, I'll see it, I'll download the file, and now I can use that on the show. So it's kind of like having all the kids in our building are now student producers of media, which is really cool because they can use our devices that we have, our iPad minis, or like most of them have, an iPod Touch. And now they can create things much more easier than it used to be in the past. Did I answer your question? This is Videolicious.com. Yep, if you go right to their site, I'm under the pricing section now. So take a look through that if you're curious to see more about the how they price it out. And you'll see a lot of options there. All right, now on to the sample projects on the Videolicious site. This was intended more for, again, the non-K-12 market, but I just wanted you to see how it's being used. This app is being used out there in the world by everything from real estate agents, promoting events, video blogging is a big piece, conferences, sales videos. I like this how-to video about this entrepreneur that created, I think, a mustard or mayonnaise or something like that. So here's a video that she created with Videolicious, and I thought it was a real good example to show.
Hi, I'm Carrie, and today I'm going to show you how to make the perfect burger at home using Bell's Hill Worcestershire sauce. There's 3 components to the burger. The first is the sauce. So we'll use a 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt, a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, a teaspoon of ketchup for sweetness and color, and a few splashes of Worcestershire sauce. We'll mix that up, we'll put it in the fridge, and we'll let that chill while we do our next component. The next component is the burger.
All right, I'm going to pause it there. So what did you guys notice in that? What stood out in that kind of production as compared to maybe just reading about her product on a blog site? In the back there, yes? Yep.
She's talking over video.
Very good. We have narration happening in the background. What else stood out to you? You get to see the burger, you get to see close-up shots. You notice the music right off the bat, royalty-free track. She didn't have to go out and choose a YouTube-friendly video that won't get flagged by copyright. That was automatically part of the app. And she kept going back and forth between the B-roll footage and then you see her, and then some more footage and then you see her. And it was very easy to go back and forth. So I want you to take note of that, because in the projects that you guys make, you can be as camera shy as you want or not. In other words, feature yourself, your face like that, as much as you want or as little as you want. But you can use your voice all the way through to tell your story. And for her, before she created this, I would imagine that her outline, her storyboard, involved, first of all, what am I going to say? So you either script it out word for word, or more likely, because it looks like she's looking at the camera, probably just an outline. Then step 2 is figure out what shots would make the most sense. So you got the bowl, the stirring in the bowl there, a shot of the burger itself. So you start thinking about what shots would help tell that story. The last thing she did is record it, and upon saying her last word, it's done. There's no editing, there's no going back to fix anything or add anything. The recording of it is the actual final step. And then the app does its magic by uploading to the cloud automatically without you having to hit any buttons or doing any logins or anything. So in a matter of minutes, you can log into Videolicious.com and you'll see your video is there, ready to be shared out, ready to be put on social media sites or whatever the case may be. Did I see a question somewhere over here? No? Okay. All right, so back to, and again, I give you the link there so you can explore more of those videos if you like on your own time. So that's my purpose here of giving you guys all the hyperlinks. So on to number 4, some sample video projects by some Amherst Middle School students. One of the projects we've done that's become quite popular is our generic digital storytelling project. In other words, tell me a story about something in your life. Could be school-related, not school-related, whatever the case may be. So here's a video of, I believe this is Ben, talking about he really enjoyed the podcast project that we did. Pause here. I'm going to. Okay, now we're paused it. A lot of what we do is blocked on YouTube. How many schools out there you guys have YouTube blocked? Okay. Oh good, not as many hands as I thought. That's a good thing. So our workaround is either to use Google Drive, which is more of a newer solution, or for many years we've been using SchoolTube. Any SchoolTube users out there? Okay, good. Some people using SchoolTube as well. SchoolTube is great because they don't really have lots of annoying ads or suggested videos like you might see within YouTube. And they have unlimited storage, unlimited number of videos. In fact, I think I am the #1 uploader when it comes to middle schools with content. We have over 4,000 videos up there, including our live daily morning shows that we throw up there every single day. So that's how that number got to be so high. We've been using them since 2007, and it's a great platform, and it works well on mobile devices too. So I think we are buffered a little bit more here. I can show you what Ben has created, and he's telling the story.
Hi guys, this is Ben, and today I'm going to read you a story about recording a podcast. Here are all the kids creating wonderful projects in this room. In particular, here is Duncan. He is reading the directions to record a podcast. Here he is. He's on step 7. This is the step of recording a podcast. Here they are, walking into a quiet room to film their podcast. If it wasn't quiet, they would hear many noises from the outside world. Here they are pressing a button, and here they are filming their podcast. They're laughing, talking, having a good time. Here they are walking to try to Mr. G's desk to see if they can get Mr. G's approval. Oh, looks like Mr. G doesn't like it too much. Aw, poor boys. Well, better luck next time.
So as you can imagine, that was mostly staged, all those shots, and if you really paid attention, you saw I was wearing 2 different shirts because they filmed the footage over 2 different days there, so not everybody catches that. But it's really great because now they figure out what would make the most sense for B-roll footage as I'm narrating my story. What should the people be seeing? And when you're in that role and you have to think what makes the most sense, you really have that critical thinking piece because you're thinking, I have so many different options of stuff I can show. What would be the best thing to show? And then we get into wide shots, like if this room would be a wide shot showing everybody. A medium shot would be like showing maybe a small cluster of people working together, and a tight shot might be showing their hands working on an iPad. So we really break that down into filmography about wide, medium, and tight shots. And you'll see I have a suggested video from YouTube that I like to use for that also. So my lesson plan, feel free to steal this because I'm sure I've taken parts of it and have stole it from other people as well. I like to use Google Docs to make a 2-column format. And as you'll see, step 1 is about watching and learning about video sequencing as a digital storyteller. So if there's a play button, that means I have something I need them to watch. In this case, it's probably a YouTube video about sequencing, but later on down the road, like step 5, this is probably gonna, I haven't looked at this in a while. Let me open that link. going to link us to a screencast video, which is a sneak peek at what I'm teaching later today at 4:30. I have a workshop coming up on making screencasts by doing something like this, where you record your voice and you narrate and do a how-to video. So in this case, I'm probably showing how to create a Google. Okay, so I have a blank Google Doc open. I'm going to click on the title and rename this as my shot list. And these are the shots I'm going to record, photos and video. So you heard me say earlier, I'm in a flipped classroom. This is why I'm in a flipped classroom. I don't have to talk in front of 20-some kids who, some of them got it, this is easy for them, and some of them are like, wait a minute, I want to write that down. What did he say? What about this? What about that? They're all different levels. So now they have teacher on demand. They learn new stuff from me by watching a video that I've made for them, and they have controls to play, pause, rewind, fast forward. And most likely watch this video outside of class so that when you get there and you're working on the project, if you struggle, I'm right there to help you, as compared to being at home with nobody to help you and then you're just struggling with no help whatsoever. So this has been a big saving grace for me, is learning how to be a screencaster and put myself digitally into my classroom so that there's 25 of me for the 25 kids in the room rather than just one of me. And that's kind of a way of, I call it outsourcing yourself to yourself, if that makes any sense. So you'll see a lot of these play buttons here along the way whenever there's a little bit more of a technical task involved, where instead of me stopping the class and teaching it to everyone, some kids need it now, some kids need this a week from now, and some aren't going to touch this project for a month from now. It's best for them to see it through a video and then come and see me if there's questions after that. And since I made the videos, I know if they come up and say, how do you share a Google Doc? I don't know how to share it with you. And I'm like, I put that in video too. Did you look at video too? Well, no. Okay, we'll go back and look at video too, and then come up and we'll talk if there's more. And so that's kind of triage for me. When I have 20-some kids, all with 20-some needs all at once, I can triage that out and say, I know that that was covered. Go see me digitally and watch the video. And then the kids that come up and say, how do I do X, Y, Z? And I'm like, yeah, I didn't think about that. Okay, let me show you. And then I can do the live one-on-one demonstrations. So outsourcing yourself to yourself through screencasting is a great way to get a lot more done over a short period of time. And I see my students every other day, so that means I have even less time in the 20-week rotation, which is kind of 10 weeks every other day. All right, so moving on to the next thing, we have the Life at Amherst Middle project. This one I feel like is a project that could fit any school out there. Everybody has stuff in their school that's unique, whether they be paintings on the wall, portraits, the people themselves, whatever the case is. So the Life at Amherst Middle project is capture for someone that's never been in Amherst Middle School, which I would assume all of you would fall into that category, and show them in 1 minute what school looks like inside, what things stand out to you as a student. So they use the Videolicious app to do what I call a level 1, and most basic level video. No narration, nobody's talking in this, just simply photographs, sometimes video clips, set to music. So within 60 seconds you get a little feel of what it's like to be inside of Amherst Middle School. We use these to open and close our morning shows as kind of a bumper, if you will, to start and stop the shows. So totally at random here, I'm going to pick one that I can show you, and I hope I pick a good one. Let's go with, I'm looking for if I have any numbers in there from the most recent ones. Here's the thing, I'll show this one here from Kylie. And I store these in Google Drive, and I can play them in Google Drive. It's kind of two for one, which I kind of like. Sometimes we use copyrighted music and claim fair use. Sometimes we don't.
Chained our hearts in vain. We jumped, never asking why. We kissed, I fell under your skin.
Let me just do this so I can narrate over it. So we talk to the kids about wide, medium, and tight shots, but we also talk about unique shots. If they get a shot of a kid reading a book, I say that could be any school in America. That's not unique to Amherst Middle School. But like this is good, a shot of the auditorium that shows we have a very large auditorium in our school. Maybe unique things like the tiger painting on the wall in the cafeteria, or some of the showcases that we have. Or in the cafeteria we have all flags from around the world hanging there. So they really start thinking about, as a digital storyteller, what would really help tell my story? What are those unique shots? And we open and close always with a logo of some sort or label of the school on it. And that's just one example of the many that are up there. And since you guys have access to this, feel free to check these out as ideas that you could probably replicate in any school as kind of a showcase of unique things inside the building. Tied to it there is my lesson plan. Feel free to use, borrow, change, modify, whatever you like. That's why it's in a Google Doc format. And this one has even more of those videos that I talked about before built into there. So you can watch the video to see what the step entails, or you could read the information on the right and Sometimes students do both, but usually the videos help them to know how to put something together like that. All right, so some tips on capturing some footage. We want to always get those wide, medium, and tight shots. I have a video here, the YouTube video it links to, about rule of thirds. This was kind of interesting. It was shot in Vegas. I've never been to Vegas, but as I can tell from this video, there's a lot of stuff that would be really great in terms of videography to get those real wide panoramic type shots. This guy here, Drew, I met him through watching him through YouTube. Never met him in person, but he's one of those guys that just puts out real helpful videos that I think work really well for anybody creating media, not just in the K-12 world, but entrepreneurs and corporate people too. And I follow him, and he always has, every couple of months, a really great video on videography. So this one's all about shooting with the rule of thirds. How many people are familiar with the rule of thirds? All right, about half the room. It's basically, let's see if I can even find a screenshot of it here. When you take a tic-tac-toe pattern and break it down on the screen, and you line up the eyeballs of a person talking with that top line, and if you have two people in the shot, you have one here and one here, and even if you have one person, rather than centering them, this video shows it, you want them to be kind of off-center. Gives a little bit more professional appeal to a video when you see it. So a real good 3-minute video to check out on YouTube about composing shots, and I have kids do that. They watch that video, and then they fill out a Google form. How many people have used Google Forms? All right, Google form, great way to get information from students. I have probably a 5-question form. They fill out what they thought was the most interesting pieces about it, and then I get a quick summary by looking through the spreadsheet of that form results, where everybody's indicated that they thought was the most interesting parts of that video, what really stood out to them the most. And if I know if there's something really crucial that I wanted them to see, like the tic-tac-toe pattern, if they don't mention that whatsoever, then I make sure I reteach that. And I say, a lot of you guys didn't mention the tic-tac-toe pattern. What does that mean? And then we can bring that up. So again, that's a way of outsourcing yourself to yourself by using Google Forms to capture lots of data and then analyzing that and then making decisions on how you're going to present new information that wasn't covered in the video. Also, big thing that my students tell you, I say this all the time, shoot in landscape wide mode only. I tell them these devices were never made to shoot this way. They're always, I'll hold it here, they always were meant to shoot this way. Because think about a TV screen, think about a computer monitor, everything is wide rectangular. So shoot all your footage this way. If they don't, and they go around the building and capture footage in portrait mode, it will work, but it will be extremely cropped in the way that, to avoid having the black bars on the side, it'll digitally zoom in and grab just a portion. So if you shot video, you might be seeing people's feet walking around instead of their heads. So you always want to shoot all of your footage in wide landscape mode, and that applies to both photographs and videos. All right, so now for some app demonstrations. I'm going to switch over here to the other screen. So my recording's not going to catch this, but I'll explain to you guys what I'm doing here. We got 3 different levels, and we're going to start making a basic one, and then I'll go intermediate and advanced. Level 1 basic is what you saw a few moments ago with the Life at Amherst Middle project. Slideshow style. No camera, no microphone audio, very basic. Real easy to throw those together very quickly. Level 2 kicks it up a notch because now we're going to have narration in it. But you can be camera shy because we would not show your face whatsoever. It's just microphone audio only with no camera. And then level 3 is the advanced newscaster style. That's like when we saw Ben telling his story about his podcasting project. That's where we have the front-facing camera working, and the microphone's working, and we have the background music, and it's all blended together in a nice professional-looking project. So I'm going to start with a basic level and build it up to the level 3 so you can see the differences between that. So I will switch now so that you're going to see my iPhone 5. And again, this will work on iPad, iPad mini, iPhone, and iPod Touch. So the app itself, bottom right-hand corner, Videolicious. I was in the middle of one, so I'm going to go back to the beginning. And I have, as I mentioned, the paid account, the $5 a month account. If I go up to my videos, upper left-hand corner, and then my account, you will see here that my email is registered, and I have up to 100 things I can store. I have 30 things stored in there. And then there's just some links to tell the people about it. So if you are logged into the app, you'll see that. If you're not, there'll be, I believe, a green login button somewhere along the top. So what we do today doesn't have to have you logged in. Don't feel like you have to make an account. You can do that after the fact. But as I scroll through my videos of mostly family stuff, there's Owen's 5th birthday, grandparents came home. You can see I have a variety of stuff. Touch a Truck was an event we went to, baseball game. So all these things are stored in my Videolicious account. Not YouTube, but Videolicious. So therefore, there's no advertisements, and it's kind of a more private paid account that you have things stored in. and it automatically uploads. That's why you'll see all of them indicated by having that 100% listed right there. As soon as you're done making it, it automatically starts uploading it. So you don't even have to remember to do any uploading or saving. If I lost this camera, it fell in a puddle, doesn't matter. It's stored in the cloud, so my stuff is safe. And that's what I like about it, is it all happens in the background. I can share things out. If I hit the share button, notice after the fact I can share it to a variety of different ways. I give it a title up top. I can share one or many or none of the options just by lighting them up. If I go to email and light that up, you'll see you have a familiar email compose box, and it has access to your contacts, so you can send it out. You can also do Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter right from the app. Alright, so we're going to go to New Video, and I'm making, as I mentioned, a basic level 1 video about ISTE. So first I pick Choose Shots. I go to my camera roll, and as you can see, it's arranged chronologically. The new stuff's always at the bottom. If I start out with what happened to me about an hour ago, this video here, you can see it's indicated as a 9-second video. Maybe I don't want 9 seconds of it. Maybe I only want like 3 seconds of it. You have in-app abilities by using the edit feature, which is relatively new. They've added that in. When you hit edit, you now have the ability to tap on that clip, and notice it shows me a nice little timeline. So let's play it through. I want to get the part where the rain's coming down the stairs. So kind of about there to start and about there to stop. If I hit play, it'll show me just that segment right there. Alright, so I'll say I like that, just that little snippet, so I'll hit save. And now it's indicated by showing me it's only 3 seconds long. So that's a way of doing it within the app if you have needs to trim things down a bit.
Can I ask a question? Is that
Yes.
the original in your camera roll?
No, it is not. The original stays intact completely. So the trim is only inside of the Videolicious app, which is nice because then that's non-destructive editing. You're not damaging your original files. And it doesn't even make an extra copy of it either, so it's not taking up extra space on your camera roll. So I'll start with that one, and then I'll show some things from the exhibit hall that were kind of neat. We had a Plinko style thing, something with Legos, a green screen thing, and then I'll stop on there. Notice every time I tapped it, in the red, a number showed up. The numbers right now don't mean much, but when I get to a level 2 and 3 video, they're going to be pretty important. So the order in which you choose things is going to matter in a little bit here. So I'm going to stop at those 5 segments there and hit save up in the corner. Step 2 now is where you tell your story. But notice up in the upper right hand corner we have the ability to skip it. Because I'm making a level 1 video, no narration, no camera, I'm going to skip this step. And step 3 now is adding your music. And if I wanted to, I could skip it, but I'll add some music just so we have some background music. So I'll choose my music. And because I have the paid version of this app, I have access to 60 different built-in songs that I can choose from. If I've purchased any music, which I think I have, on iTunes, you'll have access to them here under the songs area. But keep in mind, this is where the digital citizenship conversation comes into play with your students. You talk about Fair Use Act, you talk about the percentage of songs that you can use, so it depends on what they're making. If they're making a 5-minute long video, and they want to use that whole 4-minute song, that might be an issue, because now they're using the full-length song instead of a portion of it. And if it's going to go in a public place, which most of our stuff does, I'm very cognizant about that, and I make sure that we abide by the fair use laws, or just skip completely and just go with the built-in track. That's kind of my preference, is to go with one of the built-in songs. So I'll show you what those theme music choices look like. They have different genres of music, and if I plug in from here, you'll be able to hear some of these. All right. So we have the hopeful, lounge music. You see variations there. Pop dance, quick folk, relaxed jazz, retro. The kids like the retro ones. Soul jazz, wholesome, and wonder. So let's go with a jazz one. I'll go with that one for now. So I tap that, it automatically... Oh, the reason why it's doing this is there is some audio in that video clip I took of the rain falling. If I don't want that sound of the rain falling, I'm going to slide my slider all the way to the left. And that means no spoken words, no microphone audio would be included. If I did want to get the sound of the rain, I would slide it down so I could kind of hear both. It's kind of that happy medium between the two. So in this case, I'll go all the way to that side, so we have solid music only. And now I get to look at a nice little preview. here's what it looks like. Again, level 1 video, no narration, so the viewer is just figuring out what's going on here just by watching that. There's an automatic dissolve transition between clips, which is kind of nice. And in the bottom right hand corner, notice I can add filters. It just kind of changes the look of the video a little bit. I don't tend to use them that much, but they're there if you want to play around with them. And who's seen this in the exhibit hall? That was kind of, yeah, a little freaky, I guess, but interesting, because I've never seen that before. So I'll build that into my level 3 story. So that's a level 1 story. Notice that there's no spoken audio, so if someone's watching this and they have no clue that this was the ISTE conference, they might be wondering, like, what is this thing? What is this place? It fills a need, but it may be leaving something out, which might want you to go to the next level 2 or level 3 video. Hand up here. Okay. Right, you'd have to find out how to get that to your device in the Apple library. So bringing it through iTunes would be one option. I know how to do that in iMovie. We bought the same thing. We bought royalty-free footage. I put it all into a Google Drive folder so that kids on a desktop could audition their music and listen to what they want. Then, when you open up the Google Drive app, you can take that audio file and hit Open In and choose iMovie. And it sends the file from Google Drive app to the iMovie app. So that works well using iMovie. I don't know of a way to do it in Videolicious other than getting it on your music roll, which is tedious because that involves iTunes and syncing and all that. Okay, so that's our level 1 video. I'll just go back. I won't bother saving it. If I did save it, though, it would just process it and drop it on the camera roll. That's what it would do. So we're going to go now to a higher level, level 2 video. This is going to be me making it with some narration, but let's just say that I am camera shy, or I just got up in the morning and I'm not dressed yet, but I want to record that video, but I don't want to be seen. So we're going to call this one our level 2 video. Same idea. We begin by choosing our shots, and I will choose maybe some different shots here. Green screen. Something there, Legos, robotics, and I'll finish with one of the rain shots. And I'll hit save. Now those were numbered. As I touched each one, it gave a number there. So if I had a certain order of events that I wanted to tell the story in, I would have to make sure of that in that last step of when I chose them. It doesn't really matter for me. I'm just going to kind of tell the story as I go. So now step 2 is tell your story. Notice when I touch that, it now loads up the camera. And we have the live front-facing camera. You could use the back-facing camera if you have a camera person working with you. But this is where you kind of figure out what's the best angle to hold it at and make it look natural. Frame yourself in if you want to be off to the side, looking towards the middle, however you want to do it. When I talk, notice in the bottom, let's see if I can point to it, down here by the record button, there's green happening around there. That helps me to see if my voice is being picked up. And it looks like it's not being picked up that heavily. This is where I probably would want to use the assistance of an iRig microphone. Plugging that in would give me much cleaner audio, and it would be a lot more green showing up there as I speak. But just in the interest of saving time, I'll use the built-in mic for this. And again, I want to be, oh wait, I'm making a level 2 video, so I don't want to see myself. I'm jumping ahead here. This is what we want to hit right there, that symbol right there. And what that does is it now says mic only. So for a level 2 video without seeing yourself, you just record like so. Now I'm going to hit record and I'm going to tell my story. Keep in mind, I'm going to keep my eyeballs over here about what's highlighted in green. This is the current shot that people are seeing in my video. After the 10 seconds runs up, it'll automatically jump down to the next shot. And then when that video runs out, it'll automatically go to the next one. But if I want to move on manually, and I will do that, I don't want to stick it out for 10 seconds. I'll just tap on the next one and it will automatically go to it. So I'm going to ad-lib this, and that means when I run out of steam on talking about that first shot, I can just jump right to the next one. I don't have to wait it out or make stuff up. So here we go. Hi everybody, we're making a video to show about our ISTE experiences here. And I saw some green screen stuff happening in the exhibit hall, which I thought was pretty neat. And then we had these guys drawn on a, looked like an iPad type device, and it was projected on a really large screen. Walking around the corner, I saw the Lego products that I'm a little bit familiar with, and the NXTs is what we're using currently in school, so I decided to check that out. And then we had this walking, talking robot, which looked pretty neat, and they were doing something with vocabulary teaching for students. Finally, today, walking here to the session, this was the rain that I ran into. Thanks for watching. All right, so it said the video, sometimes you get these notifications if you don't have long enough video clips. Let's see if that's going to impact our story here.
Hi everybody, we're making a video to show about our ISTE experiences here. I saw some green screen stuff happening in the exhibit hall, which I thought was pretty neat. And then we had these guys drawing on a, looked like an iPad type device, and it was projected on a really large screen. Walking around the corner, I saw the Lego product.
All right, so you get the idea there. Notice the time was ticking in the upper left-hand corner, and as I got close to the end, it started flashing red. That's to let me know to kind of wrap it up and move on, because you're running low on time. So if I hit save now, because I was happy with that performance, if I sneezed or the bell rang or something, I could just simply record that over again. But now this is the part where you get to choose your music, if you desire. And we'll pick something different here this time. I'll choose that one. Now notice the slider is going to be important. If I go this way, there's no music. If I go that way, there's no more speaking. So I'm proud to say that I asked the app developer for this when he had version 1 out there, and we're now using version 2. So he rolled that feature into version 2. A lot of people are asking for a way to blend that, to find the happy medium between voice and music. So I would say
walking, talking robot, which looked pretty neat. They were doing
somewhere about there. I can hear the music and I can hear the voice.
Finally today, walking.
So we'll keep that. And now when we watch it, we have the blend of both.
Hi everybody, we're making a video to show about our ISTE experiences here. I saw some green screen stuff.
All right, so it looks like that would work. I'd hit save. Now at this point, I get to choose between standard definition, which is 360p video, or high definition, which would be 720p video. I believe you can only choose high def if you have a registered account with them. Even a free account will work for HD, but they want you to have a registered account to be able to save out in high definition. When I hit save, it will bring me to the screen where I can name it and then share it out through different social media venues. So I'm going to go back now to my final level 3 demonstration, and I'll add myself into it so that you can see how we can switch back and forth with the camera. So with the app, you just keep going back, back, back a bunch of times till you get to the main screen that looks like that. All right, so here's our level 3 video. These are what I mostly prefer because it really makes it look most professional when you yourself are in it and you have the music and the narration and everything tied together. So choose shots. We go to our camera roll. I'll start out with, I should show photographs because photographs I haven't shown yet. Photographs will stay on the screen forever until you have to move them on to the next one. So I'm going to start with that photo so I can show that. Then we'll do the Plinko style thing. Then we'll show the Lego thing. We'll talk about the freaky guy with the booth there. And then with the rain shot. All right, so 5 things there. So here's my highlights of my trip so far. Tell your story. In this case, we leave it in this mode. But notice too, this is a new feature, import. I don't have to tell my story now with the pressure of everyone in front of me. Maybe I pre-recorded my story before you all came in the room. I could just simply hit import and load that in from the camera roll. So you don't have to be under the gun of tapping the button in the corner and telling your story and watching your time and doing all that at once. Your students might find it more stress-free if they record beforehand and then just import during this step. So you have options. You could do this beforehand, or you could do it like me on the spot. No pressure. Here we go. So I hit record. I'm going to start on me first. Hi everybody, it's Rob Z here, and I am doing a ISTE demonstration on using the Videolicious app. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from our trip. I noticed this Volkswagen van here upon walking in, and people were actually writing little thoughts on it, which I thought was a very innovative way of doing things. Then I saw this Plinko-style Edmentum board that one of the vendor booths had, which I thought was neat because I'm a big fan of The Price is Right, so I kind of recognized that right off the bat. On to the next clip, you will see the Lego, not RCX, those are the NXTs that we use in our classroom too. We saw this speaking head here from a projector. I'm not sure what they were, if they're kind of looking at projectors was the thing, or the message the guy was saying, but it kind of catches people's eye, and I notice they stop and watch when they notice that. And then finally, today on my way here before this session, I got caught out in the rain, which seemed like there was a hurricane going on outside. So far that's been my experience. I hope that you can join us sometime in Atlanta or another ISTE sometime down the road. That's my video blog post. Thanks for watching. All right, so if you noticed I was going back and forth between myself, video clips, just so I can show you how those blend. So here's what we have.
Hi everybody, it's Rob Z here, and I'm doing a...
And a tripod is good. You need to avoid the shakiness up there.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights from our trip. I noticed this Volkswagen van here.
It gives the slow pan across automatically.
Which I thought was a very innovative way of doing things. Then I saw this Plinko-style Adventum board that one of the vendor booths had, which I thought was neat because I'm a big fan of The Price is Right, so I kind of recognized that right off the bat. On to the next clip, you will see the Lego not RCX, those are the NXTs that we use in our...
All right, so in the interest of saving time, I'm going to stop it there. You guys kind of get the idea, right, of how we do that. We just hit save. Step 3, just like we did in the previous steps, we choose our music, and then we blend the music with the voice so that we can hear both in there. And that is how you make a level 3 video. And that's the style that I'd like you to make any style video, either level 1, 2, or 3 in the last, 15 minutes or so. If you would like, you can share that with me by emailing it to me. My robz@robztraining.com is the easiest one to type in. And we will, in a couple minutes, we'll do some prizes I have to give away, and we can answer questions as we go during this period where you guys get to try it out. So any questions for the good of the group before we turn to work time? Yes?
I had a really quick question. The way you kept going from the video or picture over to you, you just kept moving your finger on the app itself when you touched
That's
the
right.
keyboard.
That's right. So as you're telling your story, you can decide if it's time to move on to the footage or time to see you explaining. So you do that as you go. Yes, in the back there? No, you can't pause it, but you can add additional recordings on. So when that recording was done, there was a plus sign up there. I could hit plus and give it to the next kid, and they could record their piece. So you could. That's a way of putting multiple pieces together. Any other questions that are for the good of the group? Yes? No, because I myself, I'm an iPhone user, so I'm not. I used to be an Android phone user, but I don't know what's out there now in terms of video production. A lot of people have asked about Videolicious, and the app developer always says he has plans to port it over to Android, but at the moment it's just iOS. If anybody has any suggestions too, let me know and then we can share those out. So for the next 15 minutes, let's have you guys explore with the app, take some footage on your camera roll. Even if you don't want to record your voice or yourself on camera, you can at least put together like a slideshow, if you will, set to music, that you could send out to maybe your principal that paid to have you come here or something like that. Find a great way to use that, or maybe make a video that you can show your students when you get back about what you did over the summer. And I'll be around to help answer questions, and in a couple minutes we'll do some prizes. Yes.